In this first problem, we are asked, if the odds of winning a game are 1 to 50, what is the probability of winning the game? So folks, when you review this topic, the first thing you have to recognize is that odds of winning is totally different than probability of winning. They are two different entities. So when you have odds of winning, that's also known as odds in favor, and you're given that it's 1 to 50, the first thing you do is build a fraction. So 1 to 50 is the same as 1 over 50. And odds in favor means that you have one yes of an event. So this would be 1 win over 50 no's. So this would be a loss. So no is when the not event, yes is that you have the event occurring. Now folks, it's so important to recognize that when you move to probability, the word total is going to be involved. Okay, so whenever you see probability, you have to have the word total involved. And the way I remember it is total and probability both have an L. Okay, so what we're going to do is, if you have one yes for every 50 losses, that's another way to think of a fraction line, for every. If you have one win for every 50 losses, that's like saying you have one win out of 51 total games. This, folks, is your probability. So this video is going to be about moving from odds to probability and then probability to odds. And the first thing you need to do when you're asked for the probability or you're given the probability is think of how many times the event occurs out of total. So the answer to this question would be either 1 over 51, or you could say, I'll do it here in yellow, 1 to 51, probability of winning, 1 over 51, or you can compute the fraction, and the fraction 1 over 51 is going to be 0.0196, and then if you're asked to put that into a percentage, you would move the decimal place over twice, so there's a 1.96% probability of winning this game. Next, we are asked, if the odds against a spinner landing on yellow are 3 to 1, what is the probability of the spinner not landing on yellow? Okay, so if we have odds against, otherwise known as odds of a no event. If it's 3 to 1, that means there's going to be 3 no events for every 1 yes event. So this would mean that it does land on yellow. This would mean it does not land on yellow. Okay, recall, if we want probability, we have to get the total of events. So if you have 3 non-yellow landings for every, remember, think of that fraction as for every. If we have 3 non-yellow for every 1 yes yellow, that means we have 3 non-yellow for every 4 total events. Probability, you need the total. It also means that you have 1 yes yellow for every 4 total events or spins. So here they want to know the probability of not landing. It's going to be 3 non-yellows over 4 total. So the probability of not landing is going to be 75%, and the probability of landing is going to be 100% minus that, or 25%. In this next problem, we are asked if the probability of a thunderstorm is 80%, what are the odds in favor of the thunderstorm occurring? So immediately, when you see that word probability, you recognize that total is going to be involved. Okay, so if you have a probability of 80%, that means 80 days out of a total of 100 days, you will have a thunderstorm. So 80 yes thunderstorm out of 100 days total. Now, folks, if there's 80 yes days for every 100, how many no days are there for every 100? 20. Okay. Next, if they want the odds in favor odds are going to be a yes event. How many yes events for every no event? So we're going to have 80 yes events for every 20 no events. That means the odds in favor are going to be 4 over 1. 4 over 1 in favor, or it can be written 4 to 1 in favor. In this next and final example, we are asked if the odds in favor of selecting a red card are 2 to 5, then what is the probability of not selecting a red card? Odds in favor, 2 to 5. That means for every 2 yes, there's going to be 5 no in terms of selection of a red card. To get probability, we need to have total. So this is another way to say this is there's going to be 2 yes for every 7 total. And there's also going to be 5 no for every 7 total. This question asks, what's the probability of not selecting? That's going to be right here. So the probability is going to be 5 over 7. And if you divided that out, you would get 0.714 as a decimal. And if you want it in percent, we're going to move that decimal place to the right twice, and we're going to get 71.4%.